السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخ.
أبو عبد الرحمن كيفك؟
الحمد لله يا شيخ.
How are you going with the class?
نعم يا شيخ.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Our discussions yesterday and in the previous class were about the elders and the young ones, the seniors and the juniors. But yesterday we started discussing what are those rights, how should an elderly person, how should the seniors conduct themselves with respect to the juniors, how should the older people conduct themselves with respect to the younger people, how should the elderly people conduct themselves with respect to the young ones. And we read the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, who had a practice, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that whenever the people of Medina, whenever their fruits became ripe and newly harvested, they would bring some of it to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ will make dua. اللهم بارك لنا في مدينتنا ومدنا وسعنا بركة مع بركة. اللهم بارك لنا في مدينتنا ومدنا وسعنا بركة مع بركة. Oh Allah, bless our Medina. Bless this city of ours, Medina. ومدنا وسعنا. Our mood and our thought, our means of measurement, what we measure, bless them. Barakatan ma'a barakatin. Make the blessings be in manifolds. Blessings upon blessings. ثم ناوله أكثر من يليه من البلدان. And then consequently the Prophet ﷺ would give that fruit to those who were with him among the children. He would give the children what that fruit that they had brought to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by way of showing affection, by way of showing kindness, by way of showing compassion to the children. Because we all would understand that even before the fruit became completely ripe, the children would have been watching it on the tree, looking forward to when the first harvest will be made. So their minds are connected to it. And by way of showing them mercy and kindness, they will satiate that anxiety from the children first, and then the rest of the people begin to partake in the harvest and take from what they have harvested. This shows that the elderly ones have a duty to be merciful to the younger ones. The elders have a duty to be merciful to the younger ones. And that was why in the chapter that followed, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, Bābu Rahmati Saghīr, the chapter about showing mercy and kindness to the young ones. And he brought that hadith that has occurred repeatedly under this discourse, that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, Laysa minna man lam yarham saghirana. It's not one of us, the one who will not yarham saghirana, who will not show mercy to our young ones. So elders, you have a duty to be merciful to the younger ones. And the ulama say, just as it is major as a sin that a Muslim is disrespectful to elders, Similarly, it's a major sin that the elders are unmerciful, unkind, and not compassionate to children. Just as it is major as a sin for the young ones not to show reverence and dignity and respect for the elders. Likewise, it is a sin, a major sin, that the elders are not merciful to the younger ones. I think in our community, what is most commonly emphasized is the respect for elders. Respect for elders is so emphasized in our community that some of the elders think that from the aspect of respect for elders is that elders should oppress the young ones. But I think we need to begin to emphasize it also. It's a major thing for an elderly person not to show compassion, not to show mercy, not to show kindness towards the young ones. So it's from both sides. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَمْ يَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا وَيَعْرِفْ حَقَّ كَبِيرِنَا. He is not one of us, the one who would not show kindness to the young ones. وَيَعْرِفْ حَقَّ كَبِيرِنَا. Likewise, the one who would not recognize and acknowledge the rights of the elderly is not one of us. So it's wrong for a Muslim to be disrespectful to elders. It is very wrong for a Muslim to be disrespectful to elders. Likewise, it is very wrong for elders to be vengeful, to be coerced, to be wicked, to be unkind towards the young ones, whether in terms of their speech or in terms of their action. Further in this discourse, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri wants to show to us how our example, our model, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, how kind he was to the young ones, how kind the Prophet was to the young ones deserve genuine attention. Most times we emphasize, like I mentioned earlier, how respectful the Prophet was to the elders. And it actually deserves an emphasis. But we usually do not mention how kind, how compassionate, how friendly the Prophet was, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to the young ones. So we come to the chapter about mu'anaqatus sabil. So Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, babu mu'anaqatis sabil. Babu mu'anaqatis sabil. The chapter regarding embracing the young ones, picking the young ones and putting them to ourselves by way of showing compassion, by way of showing some sense of good, genuine empathy, the sense of care, the sense of genuine protection, the sense of love, affection for little young ones. The Prophet showed it, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So this is Babu Mu'anaqatis Sabi, the chapter about embracing, putting the neck to his neck. The Prophet Mu'anaqa is that one person brings the other person close to himself, such that the neck area of one of the persons touches the neck area of the other person. The neck area of one person will be brought to touch the neck area of the other person. The Prophet used to do this, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, with young ones. That was despite his status. That was despite his rank. That was despite his position before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and before the human beings. Meaning that our status should not prevent us from being kind to children. Our ranks in the worldly affairs especially, or even in the affairs of the deen, we should not be that huge, big scholar who cannot have children play with him. Don't be that Imam. Don't be that Ustad. Don't be that Shaykh. Don't be that doctor. who is so coarse, so much that children cannot come near him to have a play with him. Listen to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and how kind he was to children. Here Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri mentions this report as Hadith 364. He said, Rahimahullah, حدثنا عبد الله بن صالح قال حدثنا معاوية بن صالح راشد بن سعد عن يعلى بن مرة أنه قال خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ودعينا إلى طعام فإذا حسين يلعب في الطريق فأسرع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أمام القوم ثم بسط يديه فجعل يمر مرة هنا مرة ها هنا ومرة ها هنا. Some of us, what we would find in our copies is فجعل الغلام يسر فجعل الغلام يسر. But in some of the copies we will find فجعل الغلام يسر. We shall come back to them. In some copies we would find فجعل الغلام يمر. So these are the three forms that this expression has occurred. فجعل يمر or فجعل الغلام يسر or فجعل الغلام يمر. But in the copy of Maktabat al-Huda al-Muhammadi, which is the lead copy that I read with, it says فجعل يمر. In the copy with us on the screen, it says فجعل يمر. فجعل يمر. And that conforms with what I have on the copy, but there are various copies of this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. In some of the copies it says فجعل الغلام يفر. In some copies it says فجعل الغلام يمر. That should be from the issues of manuscripts and those who have transcribed from the manuscript. These are issues that occur from the manuscript and those who have transcribed from the manuscript. But in all of these, the three meanings are perfectly appropriate, inshallah. So, Ya'la ibn Murrah said, خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ودعينا إلى طعام فإذا حسين يلعب في الطريق فأسرع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أمام القوم ثم بسط يديه فجعل يمر مرة ها هنا ومرة ها هنا يضاحكه حتى أخذه. يضاحكه in some manuscripts, in some prints you will see يضاحكه النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. يضاحكه النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم حتى أخذه فجعل إحدى يديه في ذقنه والأخرى في رأسه. فجعل إحدى يديه في ذقنه والأخرى في رأسه ثم اعتنقه فقبله ثم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم حسين مني وأنا منه. أحب الله من أحب الحسين. In this copy with me, it says أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين سبقان من الأسباط. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين سبقان من الأسباط. I hold that because of looking at various scripts, various texts that I have with me. The Prophet said عليه الصلاة والسلام حسين مني وأنا منه. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين سبطان من الأسباب. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah reports this hadith from his Shaykh Abdullah ibn Salih. Abdullah ibn Salih was a well-known scholar of hadith from the land of Egypt. He was the secretary to Al-Imām Al-Layth ibn Sa'd. So he became popularly called Katib al-Layth. He is Abdullah ibn Salih Katib al-Layth. Abdullah ibn Salih, the secretary of Al-Imām Al-Layth ibn Sa'd, who was the friend of Al-Imām Malik, rahimahullah. So he is the teacher of Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri in this hadith, Abdullah ibn Salih, Katib al-Layth. He said, حدثنا معاوية ibn Salih. Muawiyah ibn Salih in this isnad, he is Muawiyah ibn Salih Al-Hadrami. Muawiyah ibn Salih Al-Hadrami, rahimahullah, and his teacher in this hadith is an eminent tabi'i from amongst the tabi'un, that is Rashid ibn Sa'd. Rashid ibn Sa'd ibn Wahb. Rashid ibn Sa'd ibn Wahdin, he is referred to as Rashid ibn Sa'd as-Saqafi. Rashid ibn Sa'd ibn Wahdin as-Saqafi, rahimahullah. Rashid ibn Sa'd was from amongst the students of Nāsir ibn Malik. Ma'azirati. Rashid ibn Sa'd, rahimahullah, was from amongst the scholars of Sham. The ulama say, كان من أثبت أهل الشام. كان من أثبت أهل الشام. راشد ibn Sa'd. Rashid ibn Sa'd al-Maqra'i. Rashid ibn Sa'd al-Maqra'i min أثبت أهل الشام. He was from amongst the tabi'un, from amongst the students of Anas ibn Malik. Rashid ibn Sa'd was from amongst the students of Anas ibn Malik. He was from amongst the students of Tawban, radiyallahu anhum. He was from amongst the students of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. He was from amongst those who took knowledge from Abdullah ibn Busrin. He was from amongst those who took knowledge from Abu Umama al-Bahili, radiyallahu anhu. Why do we count the students of some of the scholars who learned from very many, very erudite scholars? We say that for two reasons. The first one is to make us know how knowledge has been passed down in the Ummah. The knowledge of this Ummah was passed down. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was the teacher of us all, and he taught the companions, radiyallahu anhum, we refer to as the Sahaba, and the Sahaba taught the Tabi'un. The Sahaba taught the Tabi'un, those who follow upon the path of the companions, radiyallahu anhum, they are referred to as Tabi'un. And those Tabi'un, they have their own students too, we refer to as Atba'u Tabi'in. So this knowledge of this Ummah came from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to As-Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, to At-Tabi'un rahimahumullah, and to Atba'u Tabi'in rahimahumullah, who gave to the teachers of the scholars of Hadith. This is the chain. This chain is what we refer to as Al-Isnad. This chain, this Imam said to his student, this one conveys to this one conveys to that. That chain is what in our religion we refer to as Al-Isnad. And Islam is the only religion, is the only deen that has Isnad. Who said what can be verified? Who said what? How did it become transmitted to us? Can be verified amongst we the Muslims. And our ability to verify that will make us be able to see between what is true and correctly reported and what is falsehood and clearly reported to be falsehood. We'll be able to make differentiation between truth and falsehood as far as our deen is concerned. That one is not contained in any other deen except Islam. The second reason why we mention the scholars who were the teachers to some of those who report a hadith is that we want us to understand that this religion is a deen where who your scholars are is going to go a long way to determine how you perceive the religion. If you learn the religion appropriately, inshallah, your religion will be appropriate. But if you learn the religion from people who took the religion in a warped, defective way, they will be defective. And what they will transmit to you will also be what? Defective and warped. May Allah protect each and every one of us. Rashid ibn Sa'd was from amongst the students of Anas ibn Malik, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Abu Umama al-Bahili, Amr ibn al-As, and so on and so forth amongst the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. From amongst the teachers of Rashid ibn Sa'd, amongst the companions, was the one who narrated this story, Ya'la ibn Murrah. Ya'la ibn Murrah al-Thaqafi. Ya'la ibn Murrah al-Thaqafi was the teacher of Rashid ibn Sa'd in this report. Ya'la ibn Murrah was from among those who witnessed Al-Hudaybiyah. He was from among those who were at Al-Hudaybiyah with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. وَكَانَ مِنْ فُضَلَاءِ الصَّحَابَةِ. The ulama say he was from amongst the very eminent ones amongst the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now let us listen to the incident. Ya'la ibn Murrah al-Thaqafi said, خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. We went out with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. وَدُعِينَا إِلَى طَعَامٍ. We were invited to a meal, so we went with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. It was a common sunnah in this ummah. One of us will make a meal and then invite the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the Prophet will go and partake in the meal, pray for them, and then they will disperse. It is a very rare thing among us today that one Muslim will make a meal, prepare a meal, and invite his friends. He is not making what we call housewarming. No, it wasn't about I built a house. It wasn't about I am having a feast over a childbirth. I had a child and I want to feast on the 7th day for Allah giving me that child. That we refer to as Al-Haqiqah. No, it wasn't about Haqiqah. Likewise, it wasn't about wedding. I have a friend who marries out his daughter and then he says, come and, or he's providing a wife for his son. And then he makes a feast. No, it was not about a feast. Just cook nice meals and invite your friends. Brother, can you join me at home today for breakfast? We don't do it. And it's a major sunnah of this ummah. And it is a major thing that brings people into Al-Jannah. The Prophet said so. Alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, Afshu salam. Spread your tasleem. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Unfortunately, the tasleem itself became something by which people are abused today. There are some people, when you say assalamu alaikum, they say, I want salam alaikum. They charge you, people who always say salam alaikum. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, afshu salam. Spread the salam. So why should spreading the salam become something by which people are abused? Salam alaikum people. It's an abuse. Some people say it, especially in areas around Kwara. Sorry to say, but that's the truth. They say, I want salam alaikum. It's a tag. The people who always say salam alaikum. So what should we say? Should we not greet you in the greeting of the people of Al-Jannah that Allah has established as the mode of greeting amongst Muslims? The Prophet said, Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Afshu salam, spread the salam. And then he said, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that's our point of reference, wa at'im at-ta'am. Make meals and provide meals to the people. Make a meal, provide a meal, invite the people. Brother, come and eat with me. Brother, come on. Or a sister. It used to be done those days while we were in the university. A sister would cook a meal and then he will invite the rest of her sisters to that meal. Things like that perhaps are rare in our own times. In our own times, everybody wants to take from you. Nobody wants to provide for others. May Allah protect us. So, Ya'la ibn Murrah said, Rajna ma'an Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We went out to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَدُعِينَا إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. And we were invited to partake in a meal. فَإِذَا حُسَيْنٌ يَلْعَبُ فِي الطَّرِيقِ. So as we went, فَإِذَا Hussein, one of the children of Fatima radiyallahu anha, bintu Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hussein was playing on the road, on the street, on the road. يَلْعَبُ فِي الطَّرِيقِ. Because he was a little young boy. He was playing on the street. He was playing on the road. Ikhwah, allow your children to play sometimes. Let's take this note. Some of us are so strict to the children that we don't want them to play at all, and that's not true. Allow them to play sometimes. Sometimes you behave as if you do not see them play. Allow them play sometimes. Especially apart from video games. Play outside, run about. Their bones become stronger. They become exposed to the sun. And then their heart will beat faster. They have more oxygen pumped into their brains. And then they feel energized. They are happy to play. So from the part of developing children, sometimes we allow them to play. Yes, the play should be under some sort of a monitoring in our own times especially. But allow them to play. Allow them the freedom to run about sometimes. Allow them to hit their legs on the ground sometimes. Even though sometimes the play could disturb the entire house. And then begin to say, hey, stop that, hey, stop that. But sometimes you allow children to play. Hussein, radiyallahu anhu, was playing on the road. And so the Prophet saw him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya'la ibn Murrah said, خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ودعينا إلى طعام فإذا حسين يلعب في الطريق فأسرع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أمام الخوف. When the Prophet noticed Hussein on the road, أسرع أمام القوم, he walked faster in front of the people. This is a boy I have to pray. That is his grandson. The grandson of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. Look at the gap. Look at the rank of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Look at the status of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Look at the maqam that Allah has placed him. Look at his being a messenger. Look at his being the leader of all the people. Look at his being in front of the people. Yes, he saw his grandchild playing on the road. فَأَسْرَعَ أَمَامَ الْقَوْمِ. The Prophet now walked faster in front of the people and ahead of the people. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. ثُمَّ بَسَطَ يَدَيْهِ. The Prophet now opens his hand. You know that play. When a child sees it, he wants to run away. He blocks his child. فَأَسْرَعَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ وَسَلَّمَ أَمَامَ الْقَوْمِ ثُمَّ بَسَطَ يَدَيْهِ فَجَعَلَ يَمُرُّ مَرَّةً هَاهُنَا وَمَرَّةً هَاهُنَا. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam بَسَطَ يَدَيْهِ. He opened the two hands alayhi salatu wasalam, blocking the road for Hussein in a play with him. being jovial with him, joking with the little young boy. Is there a bigger way to show compassion to children? My father is the one that everybody in the world respects. And then when he is coming, he sees me, little young boy on the street. And then we begin to play the hide and seek parents play with children. He runs this. Not for prayer days. The Prophet opened his two hands, alayhi salatu wassalam. فَجَعَلَ يَمُرُّ مَرَّةً هَاهُنَا وَمَرَّةً هَاهُنَا. The boy began to run to the left side and then run to the right side. You know the Prophet who blocked him on this side, he ran to the right side, the Prophet who blocked him, alayhi salatu. Now here this expression we said in some manuscripts, in some prints, it says, فَجَعَلَ يَمُرُّ مَرَّةً هَاهُنَا وَمَرَّةً هَاهُنَا. So the boy, يَمُرُّ مَرَّةً, he began to run to this side and run to this side. The boy, Hussein, began to run to the left, run to the right. The Prophet will run to that side to block him. He will run to the left. The Prophet will run to that side to block him. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. We said in some others, in some things we have, فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامُ يَفِرُّ. The little young boy began to run. You see the meanings are established. فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامُ يَفِرُّ. جَعَلَ الْغُلَامُ يَفِرُّ. The boy began to run. In the manuscript that has Ghulam Mansub as the according to say that the Prophet made the boy to run. فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامَ. In some report, it says فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامَ. What the Prophet did when he opened his hand, he made the boy to begin to run to the right, run to the left. جَعَلَ الْغُلَامَ. فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامُ. The boy began to run to the right, run to the left. And it says in some of that, فَجَعَلَ الْغُلَامُ يَمُرُّ. The boy began to move to the right, move to the left. So in either of them that we read it, the meaning is established that the boy was running to the right and running to the left. The Prophet opened his hand. When the boy ran to the right, he ran to the right to block him. When he ran to the left, he ran to the left to block him. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. This is Rasulullah. Showing kindness, showing compassion, showing kind-heartedness to the little young boy, Hussein. Hussein was born in the 3rd year after Hijrah. Hussein was born 3 years after Hijrah. So when the Prophet passed away, alayhi salatu wasalam, how old will Hussein be? Hussein will be in about the 7th to 8th year of his age. Why 7, 8 years old? Some of the people, when they walk by a little young boy playing on the street, they give him a crack on the head. As for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, look at how kind, how easy, how heartwarming he was with that little young boy. The Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Here the Shaykh, here see Prophet playing with a little young boy on the street, on the road. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Don't stop by a day. He opened his two hands. فَجَعَلَ يَمُرُّ هَاهُنَا مَرَّةً وَهَاهُنَا مَرَّةً. The boy began to run to this side at one time, run to the other side, and the Prophet was following him. يُضَاحِكُهُ حَتَّى أَخَذَهُ. The Prophet was making the boy to smile, to laugh. يُضَاحِكُهُ. He was making the boy to laugh. When he ran here, the Prophet ran. The boy would laugh. When he ran to this side, the boy ran to that side. And the boy would laugh. Hatta they began to run left, right, and center. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and his grandson, Hatta akhadahu. They were running left and right until the Prophet grabbed the boy. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his grandchild. فَجَعَلَ إِحْدَى يَدَيْهِ فِي ذَقْنِهِ. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam now placed one of his hands at the boy's chin. He held the boy's chin. He raised the chin, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَالْأُخْرَى فِي رَأْسِهِ. And the second hand on the head of the boy, radiyallahu anhu, ثم اعتنقه, and then he placed that boy on his neck, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فقبله, and he gave that little young boy Hussein, his grandchild, he gave him a kiss, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How compassionate was he, alayhi salatu wasalam. So in our deen, it's not just about showing respect for elders. In fact, some of us in our local community, the elders, when they see little young boys coming into the masjid, they beat them, go out of the mosque, go out. Don't send the little young boys away from the masjid. When the little young boys arrange themselves in the rows with some elders, moving, how are you using your legs to touch me? Am I your father's leg? Old people should be kind to the young people. Look at the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu and how kind, how friendly he was with Hussein. Look at that play. The best of men, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Look at how he played with the little young boy. فَجَعَلَ يَمُرُّ مَرَّةً هَا هُنَا وَمَرَّةً. The boy began to run to the left. And the Prophet opened his hand. They were playing. Look at that kind of a play. I myself wouldn't remember when last I gave that kind of a play with a little young boy. Subhanallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يُضَحِكُهُ حَتَّى أَخَذَهُ. He was making the boy to laugh and laugh and laugh. حَتَّى أَخَذَهُ. Until the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam grabbed the boy. فَجَعَلَ إِحْدَى يَدَيْهِ فِي ذَقْنِهِ. He placed one of his two hands at the boy's chin, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَالْأُخْرَى فِي رَأْسِهِ. He placed the second hand on his head, alayhi salatu wasalam, ثُمَّ احْتَنَقَّهُ. Then he made, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his neck to be on the neck of that boy, فَقَبَّلَهُ. Then the Prophet kissed the boy, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, ثُمَّ قَالَ النَّبِيُّ sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Thereupon the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, حسين مني وأنا منه. حسين مني وأنا منه. Hussein is from me and I am from him. An expression to show, yes, it's my grandchild and I love this boy so much. Hussein minni wa anna minhu. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Hussein is from me and I am from him. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. May Allah love the one who loves Al-Hasan and Hussein. Hassan and Hussein, sometimes the people think that they are twins. They are not twins. Hassan was older than Hussein. People think Hassan and Hussein were twins, but they were not. Hassan was older than Hussein. So they were both the sons of Fatima radiallahu anha. From who? From Ali ibn Abi Talib, her husband. So he was Hassan. Hassan was Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Hussein was Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Radiallahu anhuma. The Prophet loved them both. He says, أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. May Allah love whoever loves Hassan and Hussein. أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. May Allah love whoever loves Hassan and Hussein. And it can be khabar. It can be أحب الله من أحب الحسن والحسين. The one who loves Hassan and Hussein, Allah loves that person. So it's either a dua for Allah to love whoever loves Hassan and Hussein, or it is just a khabar that the one who loves Hassan and Hussein is already loved by who? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his steps regarding Hassan and Hussein, sabitan min al-asbab, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sabitan min al-asbab. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned them to be one of his descendants, one amongst my descendants. They are from the offspring of the Prophet Muhammad. When he says Tabiqan, 2 of them in al-Asbab are from my descendants. Whoever loves these 2 from my descendants, Hassan and Hussein, Ahabballahu, Ahabbahullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him too. In another report by Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah in his Sahih, the Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam regarding Al-Hasan and Hussein, Allahumma inni uhibbuhuma. Allahumma inni uhibbuhuma. Oh Allah, I love the 2 of them. Fa'ahibbahuma. So love them too, O Allah. Oh Allah, I love these 2 boys. So love them too, O Allah. And then he prayed again that Ahabballahu man ahabba al-Hasan wal-Hussein. May Allah love whoever that loves Hassan and Hussein. These 2 are my descendants. Sibqani min al-Asbaq. 2 from amongst my descendants. In some scripts it says Ahabballahu man ahabba Hasanan Husaynan. Ahabballahu man ahabba Husaynan. And this is how it has come in some of the manuscripts. But in the large majority of them, it has the 2 of them. Ahabballahu man ahabba al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Ahabballahu man ahabba al-Hasan wal-Husayn. May Allah love the 2 of them, and then may Allah love whoever loves the 2 of them. May Allah love that person. Whoever loves Hassan, may Allah love him. Whoever loves Hussein, may Allah love whoever loves the 2 of them. This hadith is widely reported in the books of hadith. Al-Imām Ahmad reported it, and Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi reported it. So it is from the aspect of our gene to love Hassan and Hussein. A person who is from amongst the Shia can say, do you love Hassan and Hussein? It's gene. When you love them, you are rewarded for loving them specially. Apart from the general love we have for our brothers as Muslims, it is from the Aqidah of Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah that we love the companions, and then we love Ahlul Bayt, those who are from the household of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and from amongst them was who Al-Hasan and Hussein. There's a practice I like to quickly mention. It is common on the 10th day of Muharram. On the 10th day of Muharram, if you look at the news, you see those from Iran, the Shia generally, and perhaps in Egypt and in other parts, the Shia, you find them beating themselves, remembering how Hussein passed away. You see them beating themselves on the ground. Some of them will wound themselves. Some paint blood on their bodies on the 10th of Muharram. They say they do that by way of remembering the death of Hussein, because Hussein was killed by also some amongst the Shia who deceived him and deserted him at the end of the day. So they killed Hussein radiallahu anhu, and then the Shia say they commemorate the day of the death of Hussein. But this is very wrong, because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ ضَرَبَ الْخُدُودِ. He is not from amongst us, man ضَرَبَ الْخُدُودِ, the one who begins to slap his face during trials. During a trial, he begins to slap his face, hitting his head, hitting the body. لَيْسَ مِنَّا وَاشْتَقَّ الْجُوبِ, the one who begins to tear his clothes and hit himself on the ground upon an event that the person is displeased with, is not from us. وَدَعَى بِدَعْوَى الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ, then they begin to shout, what kind of thing is this that Allah has done, and all of these. These, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, the one who does this is not from amongst us. But the Shia go on to do things like this and worse than it. The Shia, they do things like this and worse than it, because they say they remember and commemorate the death of Hussein. It's an akida amongst them, and it is something that is very bad. it contradicts the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, who has prohibited us from an-niyaha. An-niyaha is beating the face, beating the head, shouting. When someone dies, the people will be beating themselves, shouting, making noise. The Prophet said, the one who does that is not from amongst us. We also remember in the Hadith 361 we read, when Qais ibn Asim was advising his children, he said to them, radiyallahu anhu, وَإِذَا مُتُّ فَلَا تَنُوحُ. When I die, don't begin to beat yourself, shake your head, bring your head on the ground, beat yourself on the ground. Don't do that. فَإِنَّهُ لَمْ يُنَحْ عَلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Because when the Prophet passed away, nobody did that regarding the Prophet. So don't do it regarding anybody. But the Shia go on to do that regarding Hussein. They commemorate the death of Hussein, but the Prophet died too. They will not commemorate the death of the Prophet Muhammad. So all of these things are not right from the practice of Islam. I hope that the point of reference is clear here. Babu Mu'anaqati Sabi. The chapter about making a young boy, bringing a young boy, making our neck touch his neck by way of embracing that young boy. It was one of the ways the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed love and compassion and ease and kindness to children. Elders, show kindness to children. Elders, show kindness to children. Play with children. Be easy with children. Be easy with the young ones. Don't oppress young ones. In Yoruba, they have an adage. They say the elders employ elderliness to oppress the young ones. It is not in Islam. In Islam, it's a major sin to oppress the young ones. Don't oppress the young ones. So as we emphasize that elders must be respected and shown dignity and honor, similarly, we must emphasize that elderly ones should show kindness and compassion to their young ones. Elders, seniors, show compassion, show ease, show love to those who are younger than you. I think that is clear about Hadith 364 and about that chapter. We can quickly go on to take the next Hadith. Babu Kubulat to Rajul al-Bari. And I think the time is up. Since we have about 9 minutes, we can stop here today, inshallah, to take questions and be sure that we end at the top of the hour today, inshallah. Most of the times we went past the hour, but I think we can stop here today, Abdur-Rahman, so that we can take a few questions we have. Look at how the Prophet was compassionate. How did you feel reading about this regarding the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam?
Naam ya Shaykh.
Barakallahu feek. How did you feel hearing that about the Prophet, about Rahman? How he played with the train on the street, on the road?
Wallahi, I feel delighted.
Allah Akbar. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, can you have the questions?
Naam ya Shaykh.
Now.
The first question here says, Assalamu alaikum ya Shaykh.
Yeah.
Is it permissible for sisters to wipe over their jilbab during wudu? Also, where does the line of sisters start during salah in the masjid? Jazakumullahu khairan.
Ameen wa antum fajazakumullahu khairan. The roles of the women will start from behind. The roles of women should start from behind. That is a clear-cut statement of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Before it asks to go the best road for women is the one from behind, because that is the one that is furthest away from the roles of men. The roles of men will start from the front, and that is the best roles. Men start their roles from the front. Women start their roles from far behind. So you see the gap. The further the gap between the men and the women, the better. You see our religion in the mosque, the men are required to start the first row. The women are required to start their rows from behind. The hadith occurs in Sahih Muslim. So the further the two groups of people, men and women, are to themselves, the better. But some of the people say, oh, now we now have demarcations in masjid. Demarcations in the masjid do not change the rulings of the Sharia. So the women should start the rows from behind. There is not the demarcations in the masjid in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now let me say this. Some of the people can take one of what I have said now and leave the other. Because when there is not the demarcations in the masjid, so remove the demarcations. Let men mix with women. That is not the intention. The women used to be far away because the mosque was a bit bigger. So the women will be far away from the men. So if you want to remove demarcations before you remove the demarcations, be sure that the men will be far away from the women. Don't remove the demarcations by way of bringing the men and the women together. And say, oh, one will start saying if you remove the demarcations. If you remove the demarcations, be sure that the masjid is big enough to have the men be far away from the women, so that the rows of the men and the rows of the women do not begin to intersect. This one is inappropriate. The rows of the men should be far away, and the rows of the women should be far away. So now that if there are demarcations, the rulings on the rows still exist that the women should start their rows from behind. What the demarcation only does is to be sure that the two rows of the men and the women do not intersect. The demarcations do not change the rulings. They only come to be sure that there is no confusion in the masjid when the men fill up their rows and when the women fill up the rows. That is just what the demarcation does. The demarcation does not now change and say that, oh, women should come in front. So the women should stay far away, and the men too should stay far away from themselves. I hope that this is clear about Rahman about that. Now, can women wipe over their heads when they make wudu? Yes, they can wipe over their heads when they make wudu. There's hadith of Salama radiallahu anha. She used to wipe over her hijab when she makes wudu. Is it clear about Rahman?
Naam, ya Shaykhana. Yes.
Naam.
Another one says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shaykh upon goodness. Are we going to hand the same reward if we cook and send to our friends instead of inviting them to eat in our place?
Well, another sunnah is to cook and send food to people. The companions used to do that, radiallahu anhu. In fact, they did that even to their Christian neighbors. You remember the story of the narration of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. He would cook a nice broth, a nice meal, some meat and some soup, and he would send it to his neighbor who was a Jew. So that is lawful too. If you cook nice meals, you package it, you can send it to your brother, you can order the meal if you like. You call Mr. Biggs or Mr. Small, Mr. Chicken, and say, hey, I have a brother in also place, so address, prepare the meal and take it there. I remember a visit I made to one of the countries. And one of the brothers from another city, he ordered a meal to be brought to me. The meal was brought from Amala and Lucy, and it was brought to me. It was in another city, in the country. He ordered the meal to be brought. So it's lawful, it's right. It's easier in our times. You can cook it, you can order for it. The issue is that you provided the meal. But if you sit down to eat together, it's another thing again. So either of them is from the Sunnah of Islam, providing a meal for your brother. Taking a meal to him is from the sunnah of this deed, and it is from the deeds of the people of Al-Jannah. That narration we read, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, after telling us to spread the taslim and encouraging us to provide meals, he said, وَصَلُّوا بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ قِيَامٌ. Observe salah in the middle of the night when most of the people are sleeping. He said, تَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةَ بِالسَّلَامِ. You will enter Al-Jannah peacefully. Three things. إِشَاءُ السَّلَامِ, إِطْعَامُ الطَّعَامِ, وَمَاذا? وَالصَّلَاةُ فِي اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. It is from the means, from the deeds of Al-Jannah to provide the meals for the people. May Allah make it easy for us. I know someone, when we go for Hajj, everybody in the team, for meals, he will be providing the meals. He will be providing the meals. He will be providing the meals. May Allah reward this brother. He provides the meals. In Hajj, every person in the group, at Arafah, I say, don't worry, nobody should buy anything. I have spent for meals, and they are bringing the meals for Arafah. If we happen to be in the tent where we don't have a buffet, service, because sometimes it comes like that. But sometimes when we are in other smaller, younger tents, he orders for the meals to come. May Allah reward this brother abundantly, providing the means. And it is from the sunnah of Hajj too. It is from the sunnah of Hajj, providing the means of a judge. It's a very, very rewarding thing to do, making food available for people. Non-Muslims come now to say, call it hangout. Non-Muslims come now to say they are hanging out. We don't need to call it another name. It is a sunnah in our own religion. Something that when you do, you are rewarded for it, and by which you can gain al-Jannah. May Allah make it easy for us and accept it. Al-Imām Abdur-Raūf.
Assalamu alaikum ya Shaykh.
Ameen wa iyyakum.
So this one says, if the Nāsir takes the food and offer you meal on their Eid, what do we do to avoid the meal and continue our relationship after their Eid?
Well, do something that you know will help you preserve your relationship. That one depends a lot on you and the other person that you are talking about. It depends on you and the other person that you are talking about. These companions were there, those people knew the rulings of Islam. You can make a person to know, let him give you meal at another time apart from Christmas. The issue with us is we don't explain our religion to them. We will not take your meal in Christmas. But outside Christmas, if you give us a meal, we take it. We will not take your meal. The only one we will not take is Christmas, because we have a religious instruction. Educate your neighbors and your friends about your deen. The one we will not take is Christmas. So that shouldn't destroy our relationship. What will destroy our relationship is to completely reject taking the meal from them when we want to give them meal. And Allah has told us that وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. So you can take the meal. When they provide you meal, eat it. With chicken, with anything. But don't forget to say your Bismillah. Eat it. So let him know that the restriction you have is Christmas. No. For any other time, yes. New Year, no. For any other time, yes. Explain your religion to whoever relates with you, whether at office or at home. I hope that it is clear about the Rahman.
Now we are Shaykh is clear.
Now.
And this one says, how can you draw a line between disciplining children and being merciful?
Being merciful itself is part of discipline. Being merciful itself is part of discipline. And when you discipline the child, mercy must not be taken out. And that's why if it has to do that, you have to cane the child, which is the last resort. We have explained repeatedly. Caning is not the first thing to discipline a child. The first thing about disciplining a child is making the child recognize that what you have done is wrong. Don't do it again. Is that the case? Some young boys are with me here. So the first thing is letting the child know this thing is wrong. Don't do it again. You come friendly. You can come in it clearly without showing a lot of friendship in that. But inside your mind, you are merciful to him. You are not harsh. You can make a clear-cut, frank statement, not being harsh. Please don't do this thing again, it's bad. The next time he does it, you can make the voice to be harder. If he does it again, you can now invite him. Why do you do this? You have something, you have a problem, why you do this? Try to understand why he's doing it. And when then it becomes clear that he just wants to violate the instruction, then you can cane him sometimes. The caning itself has instruction. It must not be more than 10. Because the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam prohibited caning a person beyond 10, unless when it is a legal punishment as in hudud. The hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. It must not be more than 10. If it is 1 or 2, it must not also show a mark on the body of the child. Don't beat your son or your daughter or a child placed in your care to such an extent that the marks now show on him. A teacher will beat a child and you see the mark on him. This is wrong. A parent will beat a child and you see the mark on the child. This is wrong. Don't do it again. Don't beat the child and then the mark is apparent on him. It is wrong. So and then when you do that, it is not with the intention to inflict pain. So some parts of the body must be avoided. Like the head area, like the tummy areas must be avoided. The back and the buttocks are good, so that it does not become injured. So these are some instructions connected to, and in all of that, it is with the hand of mercy. We know how some women beat their children. It's usually different from how men beat children. Women will raise the hand up, but when it will touch the boy, it will be like a foam. But we the men, we may not raise the hands too much. But when it lands on the body, the boy knows the difference. So in all of that, mercy should be in it. Mercy should be in it. But the use of the hand or cane should not be the first thing. The discussion should come first. I hope that it is clear, inshallah.
نعم يا شيخنا.
نعم.
صلوات الله عليكم.
آمين وإياكم. Can we stop here today?
نعم يا شيخنا.
We can stop here, Abdur-Raūf.
نعم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خير.
آمين آمين.